What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Happy Friday, everybody. Okay, so this has been a long time coming. I've been trying to get this interview for a little while, and I am very, very happy to welcome Dr. Beatriz Villarroel and Mr. Dennis Asberg. Welcome, people. How are you today? Thank you for being here.
Thanks a lot for inviting us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so Dennis, let's start with you because I do want to talk a little bit about that video that you uploaded a little while ago. People already know what we're talking about. You were teasing the work of Dr. Villarroel of these plates, but I want to talk about the general sensation that people felt when they saw what you communicated, because people initially felt that this was an ominous type of message. But what did you really want to communicate to people in terms of the feeling or the sensation of what you felt in that moment?
Wow, yeah, Beatriz and me have looked into this data for a while, and I have read it, I think, more than 3 times. After 3 times, I begin to understand it, but this was difficult to take it in, and because it's so huge and strange news about this when it's come to UAPs and this phenomenon, these objects, and when we're talking about UAPs and UFO, in my case, I have seen one, that for sure. But in this case, when you look at the data that Beatriz have managed to or have been working with for a long, long time, and you begin to understand it's not only one, it's not 10, it's not 10,000, perhaps up to 100,000 objects up in the sky. It's difficult to take that in, and it was a shock for me. I was shocked, for sure. Mental shock, and I tried to, Beatriz, we talked about this for a long, long time, and I said to Beatriz, I must go out with this, because this is so crazy and so strange, but it's there, it's the data. Can it be something wrong with the plates or something? And Beatriz looked at it and worked with that for a long time, but no, nothing wrong, no errors. And then I begin to understand that perhaps we have had them for a long, long time, before even 50s. These pictures or plates from that time, it's from the 50s, 52, and so it was for me very difficult to take that in, and I was shocked. That's why I said what I said.
I do want to ask, what was the moment like when you both realized what was going on? Can you take us through that exact moment? What happened? What did you discuss?
Yeah, when Beatriz was a bit frustrated and scared about the information, and we working every day together, so it's natural for her to talk to me. So I said, Beatriz, can it really be right? But Dennis, I have done it a couple of times now. I have measure it and do blah blah blah. I don't know really how she's doing it, but as I understand, she have looked at the data for many times, and I cannot see any errors, any problems with it. This is the fact. And I try to understand it also. And after a while, I begin to understand this is the real deal. This is something for sure up there. And so both of us was in shock. There was crazy moment, I must say. And I'm still thinking about it. I cannot let it go. It's every day, every night when I go to sleep, I'm thinking about it. Wow, perhaps they have been here before we were here. I have no clue. That's I have no clue what it is really, but it is something for sure.
Yeah. What about you, Dr. Villarreal?
Well, please call me Beatrice if it's
Yeah.
okay. Well, I can say that, I mean, like Dennis described, one gets a shock. It's a certain shock, and one starts thinking, like, have I done something wrong? So that's the first question you will reiterate. You will calculate it, then you critically try to examine it, and then you say, what is it? Could it be like this? And you do it a few more times, and you keep getting the same conclusion. You try it in all possible ways, and you keep getting the same conclusion, and then you start getting an increased level of stress, because if what you see is what you think you see, if it is, I mean, if it means what you think it could mean, then it's of course is a little bit of a I mean, it challenges you. It's a result that challenges you, your worldviews, your beliefs, your, I mean, your way of watching or viewing everything. And of course, maybe still nature can surprise us. Maybe still there might be some natural explanation that I just haven't thought about ever, or nobody knows about. Maybe it's some new phenomenon nobody knows exists. But what I think it is that it's something more like we are imagining it in this community, because I think that's kind of looks like a confirmation of what has been discussed for a longer time, and we will see. But for me, this has been, because I think it represents this phenomenon that like of artificial objects. Then it's of course is a little bit of a heavy thing, because you ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? It's awkward if you're wrong on something like that. It's really awkward. That's the thing. And second, and if you're right, it's even worse. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's this
And this,
kind of thing, because it's so many. It's not like when we go into this still and we look for these objects, we hope to find one thing. Imagine you find one planet with life, or you find one object there in space that is artificial and it's not ours. My God, that's what you long for. You hope to find it. But if you start looking for things and you find signs of what could be tens of thousands or up to 100,000 of objects, it's not happiness that you feel there. It's not an excitement with the result. It's a certain terrifying feeling, because it's I don't know, that's how you feel about it. That's how I felt. So yeah, for me that was a shock of worldview, I would
sort
say.
of sort of like an uncertainty, right? Because
Ontological shock, I would say.
sphere of the unknown, sort of, right?
Yeah, and then you also realize that all your worries with the community reactions, etc., they are quite small in comparison to the fact that we have out there.
Yeah. And
It's
you
very small.
who are scientists, you go through a lot based off the bravery that you've had for studying this. And there's a handful of people that I can think of that go through this stigma, because it is stigma within the scientific community. And I think that this is something that we have to fight against, because I really don't understand why not every single scientist is open minded and curious about the unknown. And this is a really strange phenomenon for me. And I applaud people like you or Dennis or Dr. Gary Nolan or Dr. Abby Loeb, who dare thinking outside the box and um, try to understand things that cannot be explained. How do you go through that? What's it been like for you guys over these years with this mainstream scientific community looking directly at you and judging, and without knowing really what's it been like for you guys?
Yeah. I can go back in time a little. 96, I was convinced that we are not alone. That changed my life totally. Before that, I don't thought about UFPs or UFO. The only thing I saw was Star Wars or aliens on TV. And then I saw something that changed me totally. And so in that case, when it's come to if we are not alone, we have something for sure. I have seen it myself that changed my life. And Then I find this Baltic Sea Anomaly 2011 out in the Baltic, and experience so much difficulties when it's come to go out with information and get help from scientists and universities. Nobody really let me in, and the scientists, they were very curious for sure to hear what I have to say, but to help me to go into the project and find out what we have found, that was another type of business that they don't want to go into that. And but that was 2011, 2012. It was more difficult than as it is now. Now it's different. It's another. It's more that they contacted me now, or Beatriz. They want to come along on this journey to find out what we have found in the Baltic Sea. So, but it's 15 years, and I have so much experience of people that want to sabotage everything I do, and it's have been difficult for sure, but I have not given up. And then I found out that I met Beatriz 1.5, 2 years ago, something like that, and we both are interested in this topic when it's come to UAPs. And so really in 96 I was burn marked, and I'm very interested in this thing with UAPs and find out what we have out there. And now we're working together, but of course there have been a very tough time. But now it's much easier when people begin to listen and want to be a part in this job to find out what we have found out there. So I hope my English is okay.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Okay, great.
Yeah, don't worry about it. What
Yeah.
about you, Beatriz? What's it been like for you?
Meeting Dennis has been the best thing for me because I got a really good friend and supporter in this topic. I will say I found it there have been many amazing moments when I've been working with it, but also many difficult moments. And I think all the things around these results, I think people, even UAP scientists and researchers, they have a way of trying to stop you, because it's all, let's talk about credibility. Credibility is a beautiful thing, all of us things, but it's also is in certain ways a golden cage people live in. It's like a golden cage. Once they are in it, they are so afraid of losing it that they prefer always to stay on the safe side. They don't want to take a risk. And this is true for many scientists in the UAP world. They prefer to stay on the safe side, so when they have an anomaly right in their face, they will not acknowledge it, or they will play it down, or they will ignore it. And I think that is a danger. That is a danger for science, because in medical science, or like orthodox sciences or orthodox research topics, people don't ignore things. They write them down, they show them, they discuss the results. While here, everyone who are academics are very, very scared, and they try to say, okay, we know this is interesting, but we are not saying it's aliens. And they always feel this need to add the disclaimer, we are not saying it's aliens. But what if I think it's aliens? What if I think that what I see are artificial objects? Why can I not say that? And I will say it now. I think these things we see in 52 are probably something artificial that shouldn't be there, or in 50 to 56, rather, not in 52 only. And I think this stigma is coming in all forms and touching academics on all levels, even inside the UAP research community. And I think the first step for us is to try to open up and not be so scared, because we're all humans. This is a discussion. It's not about being right. It's about opening up, sharing our data, sharing our findings, discussing what we see, and helping each other in this community. Okay, I think it's this, and someone else as well, I actually think it's that. Right now, what happens is that there is this fear of stigma, but also competition. And if you mix the competition and fears of stigma together, it's a really ugly mix. While I think that competition has no space in this, because even if someone comes out and says, okay, we found a saucer, here is a saucer, and puts it in front of at CNN on the table, it still is not going to be a discovery. Honestly, it's not going to be a discovery, because then you just confirm what has been known in closed circles, and thousands of people already know about it since the 50s, or maybe even longer. So there is no space for competition here. There should be space for collaboration, helping each other and approaching in a human way, because we are all human and we are in this together.
Yeah.
And if we are not alone, then we should even more care about each other. And that's my point of view. So I hope that there can be some improvement of the community attitudes.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you specifically about the peer review process,
Yes.
because I have a friend whose name is Alex Gomez Marin. He's from Spain.
Yes.
He's a physicist. You know him, right? I think
I know who it is. I
he,
talked
he
once.
wrote he wrote a really cool article about the peer review process that has become sort of uh, like a mafia, sort of, because it's not really it's not really fair. It's like a little club that you have to join, and it gets really difficult to publish something meaningful if you don't go through that process. So when you try to get scientific articles out with peer review, have you found obstacles like that?
Oh
Like what
yeah, and
it's about?
actually, I must say that a close friend of mine wrote a book called Against the Tide, and it was all about how peer review and blockings in the archive process already like 20 years ago, where I don't know if it's archived then, but okay. And anyway, 20 years ago, they already have all these issues. And for example, the prominent astronomer Halton Arp, that was talking about these non-cosmological redshifts, was subjected to these issues. If you're a little bit trying to look into results that go against the mainstream, peer review comes in and poof, blocks it. At the same time, there's a lot of good things during peer review. If you have a constructive referee, you can get great comments. Then if you have a referee that just doesn't want to see certain results, they can destroy your paper, of course. So it is, I agree with that the process is very faulty, but I will still try to submit. And
Yeah.
that's because even if you get a rejection, sometimes what you can get are a lot of valuable comments, because someone hopefully sits down and reads your paper. And maybe if there's something very important there, you will notice it. I can say that now we have revised our papers and resubmitted it. So let's see how that goes.
Do you guys have like an ETA of when the review process could end, or no idea right now?
It
No idea.
depends on.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. I want to ask Dennis a couple of things. First, how is the Baltic Sea Anomaly investigation going? Anything you might want to share for the public? Because people keep asking in the comments, man, and they want to know.
Yeah, so do I. But yeah, we are working, and we were out in June with the scientists from France and even from US, and we managed to get very good data with sub-button profiling and multi-beam, and it was incredible. That journey was perfect. The weather condition was perfect. I remember when we were on our way, the captain on the boat said, "Dennis, sorry, but it will be a little windy out there and a little rough." But when we come out to the spot after many hours, it was perfect weather. So we were quite lucky when it's come to that. But we used our multi-beam first to take a 3D image of the object. And the captain and me, but before we were at the spot, we talked about my experience there with failure with the equipment and GPS and radar and so on, and the diving equipment. And he listened and was very curious, of course. And then when we come to the spot, we began to use our multi-beam. And then Thomas, the captain, said to me, Dennis, we have a problem here. And I look at him and he said, we are at the spot now with the equipment, but we have lost our GPS connection.
Whoa.
So I just, what? What do you mean? That usually happen for you in this ship? No. So we go over the object, have lost the connection, and then we turn around and go back again, and we have the same problem. Lost the connection over the object. And the third time we're going there, it's working. So this was very interesting for sure, and surprising for it was. But we use our multi-beam. So we worked there for perhaps 3.5, 4 hours with a multi-beam. And we look at the data, and was really good data, perfect data. Much better that we had the 2012. So then after that we use sub-button profiling, if you know what that is. It's a kind of radar you use to penetrate the bottom and see if you can see all the layers.
Okay.
So what we want to see, if it's any layers, and see if this thing or object is separated from the bottom. And it was separated from the bottom, as we have seen it now on the data.
Yeah.
But we are not ready yet. We're gonna go out in perhaps a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks or something like that. Go out again and continue our investigation. But we have good data now, and next time we're going to go out, we're going to even take, hopefully, if everything turned well, we're going to do core drilling also and take samples around it. And when it's come to take samples or drill into the object, it's perhaps next time, not this time is coming now, because it's not easy. That is one thing for sure. It's not easy to take and to drill there, and it's risky also. So first of all, we must take core drilling around the object, of course, and then even then see this so-called track you have on the bottom, and see if there's any layers there also. If we can see that, we can also see how long time ago it was. If it was, if it was a crash site, we can see when. If it's 10,000 years ago, or 18 or 20,000 years ago. So that is very interesting to dig into and see.
That GPS stuff kind of sounds like an electromagnetic anomaly, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's can be that like that. And because we had problems before with the equipment, it's not only the GPS. We have problems with the satellite telephone, with the diving equipment, with ROV, with the compass on the ROV. So almost every time we have been there, we have problems with the equipment. And one strange thing I remember, I have mentioned it many times, but we were out, it was clear weather, everything was perfect. The sun is shining, and we have anchor over the object. And I remember Peter said to me, Dennis, look at the radar. Then I look at the radar, and then I see dots on the radar. Okay, we have a ship like 200 meters from us. And I go out on the deck, and it's nothing there. It's nothing there. Go in again and check the radar, and then it's gone. And then it's popping up in another area around us. And I just, what?
Yeah.
So I was very surprised about that. But electrical failures, problems with that, and also thunder and smoke coming up from it. Lots of strange things have happened up there.
Wow. Because here in I live in Baja, I live in Tijuana, and we have Ensenada really close. And there's an island that Danny Sheehan has mentioned before, Guadalupe Island, where there's a lot of USO activity. And there's a little real specific place right above the island, if you see the map, where if you check for electromagnetics there's a giant anomaly there where exactly where Danny Sheehan thinks there's like a base of sorts, quote unquote. So I don't know. It's really interesting that there is a sort of like a correlation between the object and that what happens in Guadalupe Island as well. Do you guys have any idea how big this object is?
Yeah, of course. It 60 meter in diameter,
Whoa.
so it's quite big.
Whoa. All right. Damn. All right. I want to ask you another question about something you recently did, Dennis. You recently
Okay.
came to the US, and I
Yes.
saw you had spent some time with Dr. Keith Taylor, who's a good friend. And you also spent some time with the Tedesco brothers, didn't you?
Correct.
What was that like?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit of that experience?
Wow, that was cool. Fantastic people. I love them. I really like them. Yeah, it was an interesting journey. I was there when my youngest son. He have never been in US, so 5 days in Manhattan, and it was 36 degrees Celsius, and we walked like 150 kilometers in 5 days.
Oh my God. That's
I want to experience Manhattan and see everything there, so not take the train or sub there. So it was very interesting. But I was also meeting with them, and look at. I was on a mission there, and what's it called? New Island.
Long Island.
Long Island. We were there with their equipment, and also I look at films and data they have collected over for this mission they had, and I was so surprised. Oh wow, something very, very interesting. I saw things that probably have not been published also.
Oh wow.
I don't know, but I think it was some film
I've
there.
spoken to the brothers and to Dr. Taylor as well.
Yeah.
They showed me a few things that were really interesting too. One of those sightings that they recorded had like a multicolor kind of glow. It was really wild. I've never seen anything like that before.
Pulsating, or
yeah, that was really interesting. Yeah. It was really cool that you came here and you met with those people. I wanted to ask you both about meeting someone else very recently.
Jake.
Yes. What was that like? Tell us about meeting Jake Barber.
Well, he's amazing. He's super, super nice and super brilliant and super kind. It was a great meeting.
What about you, Dennis?
I wait. I must close the window. The helicopter is over here.
That was good. That was good. That was good.
Is it a Black Hawk again, Dennis?
Let's hope not.
He always gets the Black Hawks coming to him.
No.
Okay.
Not a black helicopter, is it?
They're lurking around here for sure. But no, I don't think so. It was something else.
Oh.
But Jake, I mean, amazing guy. I mean, he have lots of experience, and we talked about that, and almost the same experience I have in my. He have, what can I call it, been working with it, and have as a helicopter pilot, and he talked about, of course, this egg and other things also, but also about how that have changed his life, and not only his life, his family's life. As in my situation, I have, after I found the Baltic Sea Anomaly and I was in the spotlight, everything changed for me, even for my family. Good and bad things have happened, and it has been tough, very tough. But I'm glad that I have a family that support me. But I feel for him, and I understand him, and we have deep discussion about that. and it's a nice guy, honest, uh, and we are interesting to find out the truth about this UAPs and things that's happening around us. That is, I have dedicated my life as he have, and Beatriz. I want to do this to the end of my life to find out what it is. That's important for me, and I know for Beatrice also. So, and Jake and lots of other people we have contact with now. So we no, it was fantastic to have him here, and hopefully we are going to US and meet him there very
Yeah,
soon.
hopefully you guys can make it here. If you do make it to California, please let me know. I'll cross and meet with you guys in person, and we'll have
That would
some
be great.
coffee. Or yeah, that'd be really cool. Because I asked you about Jake because there's a lot of misconceptions about him in general because of the way in which he presented himself in the public. First he was part of what you call a red team that wanted to catch guys that were trying to tell the truth about UFOs, and then he changed his mind because he saw Michael Herrera telling his story, and he had already experienced something really profound himself. And I just wanted to ask you if what your experience was like with him. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so moving on a little bit, I want to ask Beatriz about Dr. Menzel because there is a little interaction that I recently found out about. If you haven't heard it, supposedly the late great Dr. Stanton Friedman had an interaction with Dr. Menzel before Dr. Menzel passed away. And allegedly, in this conversation, Dr. Menzel told Dr. Friedman that he knew way more about UFOs than he could ever imagine. And I just wanted to ask you, what do you think he would think right now of the work that you've been doing and uncovering the things that he covered back then? Because there is evidence that he at least prohibited people from investigating the stars when he was the director at the Harvard Astronomy Department.
Oh, he would just dismiss it. I don't
Yeah.
think there would be any big discussion about it. He would just say like, "Oh, it's plate defects," and that would be it. So I don't think there is much of speculation. People like him, they try to find not the truth, but the simplest excuse.
Yeah. Do you think there's ill intention there, or do you think it's just this scientific hubris that
I
exists?
don't know. When it comes to Menzel, I think it's okay. I'll be fair. My own speculations take me to that this must have been deliberate. The whole thing with the plates and the Menzel gap, and I mean the whole. Nah, I don't buy that they were just trying to save storage space.
And just to keep it clear, what exactly happened with, because there were plates that were recorded in Harvard, and then there were plates that were recorded at Palomar Observatory. Is that correct?
Observatories. It's totally different observatories.
And they were doing it at the same time, same plates, same
no, it's
places?
2 independent observatories. Harvard is the largest plate collection in the whole world.
Yeah.
It's the most important plate collection in the world. They have like multiple observatories, but they had also the one maybe closest to Washington, D.C. So that was interesting.
So Menzel wasn't aware of the Palomar Observatory's activity at the time. That's why
he
went
wasn't
under the
director
radar.
He wasn't director of it. He became director of Harvard in somewhere in the autumn of 1952, like October or so.
That sounds like a really serendipitous kind of moment, right? Because who would have thought
coincidences?
Yeah, that was really wild. When I saw it, I was like, "Damn." Yeah, it works. It was really funny. I want to ask you before we leave because I know that you guys must be tired. It's a little late over there. I want to ask you finally about something you told me recently. Because I tweeted something about NASA redacting some public hearings about the James Webb Space Telescope data, which shouldn't happen because it's supposed to be publicly available data. And I did ask you something on Twitter if possibly maybe the Air Force could be involved in some of these redactions or other type of data blocking or erasing or whatever you want to call it. There is something that you recently found out that I know you can't completely share because you're trying to do some work on it, some
I'm
written
still
work.
trying to understand it, so maybe someone wants to help me to look into that and try. And if I have like misunderstood it, this is the perfect moment
Yeah.
to
Can
correct
you
me.
explain what you found and what you saw,
So
please?
apparently, like a lot of these objects that or blinks that you can see on the sky today, blinks, let's say in the optical, they don't repeat, so you only see it once, or sometimes they repeat just a few times, and you can't really do much of it. So you call them uncorrelated targets, if I understand it correctly. And that's when objects that you don't, not like transient events or so, that don't match any known objects, any known space trash, they don't match any known satellite. And then that makes up like most of the stuff that we see on the sky. And that's kind of cool that you see you have this list of things that you don't know what it is. It doesn't have a tag. We don't know what it is. And when you observe the sky, you find a lot of those. However, what is cool is that they were already seeing loads of them in the 1960s, like in the early 1960s. And I would like to have access to those lists. And if I understand it correctly, when NASA is like showing you these pictures of like increase of space trash over time, they are usually removing all these uncorrelated targets. They are removed out of all these plots. So there's like a background subtraction, I would call it, or so, when you remove them. But the list is not with NASA. They get help, if I understand it correctly, from someone from the inside told me. These lists are not hosted by them. It's hosted by the Space Force or US Air Force, or one of these military thingies. And they have these lists. And these lists are highly classified. And that makes me kind of excited, like to know, because if there are these lists from the 1960s, early 1960s, and if there are so many as it's rumored, then I wonder if I can do this shadow test on it as well to see if those uncorrelated targets vanish in the shadow. That's what I'm wondering. So I'm trying to find a way to get hold of them. And from what I understand, someone needs to make a FOIA request. Someone who is American would need to make a very specific FOIA request to get access to these uncorrelated target lists.
Have you asked anybody from NASA about I don't know if because I wanted to ask you, do you think it's probably possible that these objects are still right now up there?
Yeah, apparently 70 or 80% of all the stuff you have there right now are such uncorrelated targets. So I'm wondering if we have a background of things that are artificial. And we would know that if we would do this Umbra test, for example.
And do you think this data is held by NASA, or do you think
It's where the military is classified, if I understand.
so the Air Force?
Yeah, there might be some little mini list somewhere that you can find at certain archives. But if you want a complete list, I think it seems to be classified, and that's where I might be totally wrong as well. And some people might go in and correct me, and I really would appreciate feedback on this topic here. And also, if someone from Air Force wants to send some open public list to me, I would be so appreciative. So if someone at the Air Force works with this and has access to public lists they can share with me, please send them to me so that I can play with the data.
So FOIA geniuses, you know what to do. Our DMs are open. Both me and Bea, and even Dennis, who is not very active on Twitter, but he's active on other social media. I'm going to ask you guys to please share whatever social media you want to share with me, so I can leave it in the description. And thank you for that interview that you guys did with Jake. That was really cool. And I hope that I can see you guys soon here in either Mexico or California, because I'm in Mexico right now. But I want to thank you both for your time. If you guys want to check out more in detail the work that Dr. Villarroel and Dennis have done, I will leave a few links in the description. I think one of the best explanations for Dr. Villarroel's work is at the Event Horizon channel with John Michael Gaudier. Those are like, you guys have like 3 or 4 interviews already. Really thorough, really wonderful conversations. And the interview with Ross was really good too. So I'm going to leave everything in the description. But anything you guys might want to say before we leave? Any message you want to give out to the people? Take it away.
Dennis.
We are not alone. 100%. That's what I want to say. And we will find out. But it's going to take a while.
All right. Thank you guys for your time. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one and see you later.
See you.
Bye, people.
Thank
Bye.
you.